going to try this a second time. All right. So the other day I talked about calibrating tarot cards, and the idea comes from Mindful Tarot, who, of course, has a channel on YouTube. Be sure to check it out. And I did a video the other day explaining what the calibration was and a very short version. So if you want the in-depth, go back and watch that video from the other day. One tarot deck that you're more familiar with to help you to understand one that you're less familiar with. Although I think it can also work with decks you are familiar with, and sometimes they can even work using two decks you're unfamiliar with. Basically, you just use one deck to help you understand another better. So I decided to, I shuffled and chose a card to calibrate, and it was the Queen of Water from the Emotions Oracle made by the Tarot Tavern, where it's Taro, and then the capital T joins for tavern, so they share the letter T, by T.N. Bell, and I just love this deck. Well, the Queen of Water, it turns out, then I couldn't really particularly put my finger on what was it about the Queen of Water in this deck. You see that she's underwater, so you see she's watery. So, there's some emotion. But really, what does this card want to tell me? So, using the True Heart by Rachel True. Hi, Alice. This is probably going to be a shorter video. I'm just doing this calibrations. I'm not doing free questions right now. I do hope to be going on, hopefully pretty soon, like maybe today or later tonight or tomorrow, to do free questions. But for now, I'm just going to do this calibration video. So what does the Queen of Water want to tell me, right? What does this particular Queen of Water want to tell me? And so I just had to use this True Heart Tarot, and I flipped this over, and right away, it didn't give me words, but it gave me the feeling, like the full body feeling of this card. Just, we have this person, she's got her 3 cups. This is, of course, the 5 of Cups. Her 3 cups are spilled. She's crying her heart out in the bathtub. She's surrounded by crying eyes. And then there are the 2 cups behind her that are not tipped over. But they're behind her, so they're out of her sight. And just immediately with these 2 cards, what I saw is, from the aspect of the Queen of Water, was the Queen of Water as an empath. Queen of Water as someone who can fully feel other people's emotions. And I don't mean have sympathy for, or even empathy, where you kind of put yourself in the other person's shoes. But as an empath, you can feel those emotions, sometimes without being told. And it's part of the Queen of Water's sort of psychic senses. Sometimes I've heard it described where she has that great, in the RWS deck, she has that huge, strange looking sort of goblet that's gold. And I've heard some describe it as she's actually like gazing into the water to scry. In no way does she look like she's trying to drink the water. It is a little odd in a way of how she's shown to hold the cup. But I have heard it being described in terms of her scrying. But here, I feel that she's scrying, or she's sensing the pain, either the pain in the world in general. Sometimes with empaths, we just can feel so much of the sort of crushing pain of the world around us. and it's difficult to deal with, and sometimes it's difficult to sort um, our own feelings, our own thoughts, and be able to even function, because we feel so overwhelmed, so much like we're drowning, in our own tears, in the tears of the world, of the entire world. So I did find the Queen of Cups. And here's the Queen, where she's kind of just looking at this strange looking cup, which even has a lid on it. And there's just a mysterious quality about it. And there's sort of a mysterious, sort of distant look about her as well. And so, again, it was just, for some reason, when I flip this card over and I see this, and then I look at her after seeing this, and I can just see this in her face. I can see this empath ability in this Queen's face. So this card has really helped me to understand this Queen of Water. And then I also thought about the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Water. So I always feel, some people say that the Queen of Water is warm and loving, but I feel always like she's sort of distant and in a different, she's sort of distant and removed. Sure, she's emotional, but because of her sort of psychic abilities and her ability to see and feel beyond her immediate situation, her immediate surroundings, she's never really fully in that one place. And so she has this distance about her. And I am looking for the RWS Queen of Swords. And for some reason, I've had the Queen of Swords show up as me quite often, despite the fact that I'm a Pisces and the Queen of Cups is more on par with me according to the zodiac. But in other ways, the Queen of Swords does resonate with me as well. So now, again, the Queen of Swords is very present. However, she has this hand that's a little bit of a beckoning hand, but she also has this sword that is up, which I feel is a little bit of a boundary. Okay, so I feel like the Queen of Swords is very, very in the present and very in her space and in her body and in her moment. And because of this, she's also, she's got the boundary and the protection of the sword, which also can represent the law and the ability, the authority to uphold the law. So she's beckoning. So she's willing to hear people's... She's willing to hear from her people. She's willing to hear what their grievance is, or what their wish is, or what, their, what's the word I want? Their, requests, right? Their requests. I'm like, it's a simple word. It's just flying out of my brain. She's willing to hear, but she's not just gonna hand it over, automatically. She's not gonna let anyone walk all over her or take advantage of her in any way. She's got her sword. So she's like, okay, you can come a little closer, but stay back, okay? Because she's got this sword. Well, the Queen of Water is more likely to protect herself. She's protected herself with this boundary and with this, separation, and with this possible, threat with her authority, that also she has some, I can't think of the word I want again, but ability to sort of, punish I guess. So this is, this protects her. But the Queen of Water, her protection is a little different because she might protect herself through dissociation, through kind of sort of mentally projecting somewhere else into another place. And even, she may even in some ways protect herself. Hi, I think that was Becca. Becca Boo, is that you? She may even protect herself from her current reality and situation by projecting into another place. I have not gotten it yet. Or another time, such as the past, or another person's emotions, and kind of burying herself in someone else's emotion or an old problem or something while not dealing with what's going on currently around her. So the two queens have different ways in which they sort of protect themselves and in which they relate to their subjects and those around them. So the queen has that sort of outward symbol that lets you know, don't mess with me. I have this sword and I have this authority, and so go ahead and come forward with your request or whatever, but know that I am queen, right? Whereas the Queen of Cups, she doesn't have so much of an outward protection, and she's a little bit more vulnerable. Looks like a man. I don't think she looks like a man. The Queen of Swords maybe looks a little bit masculine. Let's look closer at the faces. Which makes sense for the swords to be more masculine because it is a masculine suit. Masculine is always a weird word for me. I always feel like people are saying it wrong even when they're saying it right. See, I don't think so. She's got her hair in quite an elaborate braid, which I never noticed before. But I feel like she, as I said, she is more vulnerable, I suppose, and doesn't have any sort of outward threat or outward symbol to protect her. And so her protection is often to go inward or to sort of project into sort of another time or place or even another dimension, where it may be difficult, it may be like depression, it may be really difficult emotionally, but it still somehow is protecting her from sort of the immediate situation. So this is our Queen of Water that we were originally calibrating. And as I said, this card just helped to highlight the empathy and the empathic abilities of the Queen of Water. And honestly, I hadn't really deeply thought of the Queen of Cups in those terms before flipping over this card. So that was really, words don't 100% describe the feeling of the realization that you kind of open up with that and the kind of door that it opened up for me to explore. So this was my calibration for the Queen of Water. And I'm gonna head out now. I just wanted to do a sort of a quickish little video about the Queen of Water and some thoughts I also had about the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Cups, and the different ways that they protect themselves and the powers of the Queen of Water. So thank you all very much, and until next time, be well.